everyone, so it's Michelle here for those of you who don't know me, and today I'm going to focus on the leaving cert and routines. So this can be a very practical video and I reckon you'll get the most out of it if you work along with me. So take a moment to grab some pen and paper and we'll get started. So to start with, I've just made a schedule, very basic schedule here, so we're using lines and the 7 days of the week. So take a moment to jot that down. And then I'm going to invite you to fill it in. So maybe start with the things such as the morning routine, the nighttime routine, the things that are quite set at the moment. So I know for me, I'm kind of getting up around the same time every day. I generally eat around the same time, my breakfast, lunch and dinner, and I'm trying to go to bed at the same time every night. So you could start with whatever day it is that you're watching this video on and even fill in your typical day. For you, you might be adding in study time. Maybe you'll add in time that you spend with your family or time that you spend on your phone or with your friends. These might be actually set things in your routine that's really important to you. So take a few moments to do that. So you might need to pause the video if you haven't already. Otherwise, we're going to go ahead and have a look at your routine and focus on these 3 areas. So as an OT, this is usually how I make changes to someone's routine or to my own, by focusing on the areas of self-care, of leisure and study. So this would be like for you, your work at the moment. So I want you to look down at your schedule and think about, hey, being honest with myself, do I allow time for self-care, which is time to chill out, time to relax, time where you can switch off? Do you have time for leisure, where you actually connect with people and where you do something that makes you feel really good and it's fun? And do you have time for study? How's that going? How's your concentration? Is it good quality study time? Or are you finding that you're sitting there for hours on end but not actually getting through anything? So have a look at your schedule and maybe take your pen and circle some parts of it that you feel like you'd like to actually make a change in. Is it the morning? Is it the evening? Is it the study? Is it the social aspect? So take a few moments again, feel free to pause the video and maybe pick 1 or 2 areas that you'd like to make a change in. So this is where then, once you've chosen your area, we'll have a little think about setting a goal. So I'm going to give you a few examples here. If you're finding at the moment that your study time is one of the areas you want to work on, maybe your concentration isn't great. Perhaps then we need to start thinking about how you structure your study time. Is it that you need to factor in more breaks, perhaps more quality breaks where you move a little to build up some energy and, I guess, regenerate your focus? If you're finding that self-care doesn't really exist in the week, a particularly quality self-care where you actually switch off, well then let's start to think about things like mindfulness, maybe journaling your thoughts if you're finding you're getting overwhelmed with thoughts. Perhaps some quality time where you talk to someone, maybe it's a trusted adult in your life, or maybe you reach out to Jigsaw, so they have a free phone service at the moment for young people. So start thinking about what you can do within your self-care to help you a little bit more switch off. So I do have a mindfulness video that I'll link in the article on A Lust for Life, so feel free to click on that also. Or then maybe for you, you're feeling that you're kind of sad and maybe a bit lonely at the moment. Perhaps you need to focus a little bit more on your leisure, maybe connecting to people a little more, spending a bit more downstairs with the family, or spending time on WhatsApp call with friends, face-to-face contact. Is that what you need? So setting your goal is probably the really important part, because I often find when people want to make changes to the routine, they tend to jump from where they're at now to setting a really, really high goal and then maybe not achieving it, and then no change happens at all. So a little tip here. I'm going to invite you to draw a little ladder, maybe on the back of your schedule. And on this ladder, you can place your goal. So let's say you want to study a little better. That goes at the top of your ladder. So I want to study a little better, I want to help my concentration. And then I want you to place an X at where you feel like you are now. So you might feel like, I'm just about there, I'm actually studying quite well, I just need to focus a bit more. Or maybe I'm not studying at all. That isn't even a thing. So your X might be down a little lower. So wherever you are, it doesn't actually matter. It's really useful to be honest with yourself, because that way then we can figure out what the next step is. The next step might be the smallest little change. It might just be that I'm going to sit down today and practice writing a to-do list. Or maybe for the person up here, you might be practicing taking more of those regular movement breaks I talked about. So by being honest with yourself on your ladder and making a really realistic goal that's very achievable, you're more likely to get there and more likely to be consistent with it. So that's just one example. But whatever your goal is, I'd recommend placing yourself on the ladder and seeing what your next step is. So I hope some of these strategies were useful for you. If you have any other questions, feel free to reach out. I will be hoping to do some more videos, focusing a little bit more on maybe thoughts. So hopefully one video in particular on thoughts that are worst case scenario thoughts and how we can work through them. And I also might do some videos around our leisure and what that means and how we can perhaps invite more social leisure activities into our lives at the moment. But I do want to acknowledge before the video is out is that it is a particularly hard time being a Leaving Cert student. So showing some compassion and kindness to yourself is probably one of the most important things you can do at the moment. And if you just don't feel like making changes, maybe that's okay today. Maybe it'll happen a different time. Thanks so much for listening.